Greetings to you this beautiful Saturday morning. This week, I saw several patients in the office with cramps, with muscle cramps. So I thought it might be fun to talk about muscle cramps, and it's such a common problem. Talk a little bit about what may be causing muscle cramps, and talk about some of the things that you can do to address muscle cramps on your own, some home remedies that have really been reported to be effective by many people over time. So let's talk about muscle cramps. You undoubtedly have had that episode as you're lying down to go to bed at night where you have excruciating pain in your calf and you're not quite sure what to do to get rid of it. You stretch your leg and hope it doesn't come back. And sometimes it does. Sometimes, if you're lucky, it goes away on its own fairly quickly. But muscle cramps are common, and probably the most common setting that you see for healthy, active people is when you've been very active. If you go out for a long run or a long walk, particularly on a hot day, just from overuse of the muscle, and the muscle is active. Sometimes when you come back on a hot day, you'll even see your muscle quivering, representing a state of hyperactivity that can sometimes progress to a full-blown muscle cramp. And this just seems to be due to overworking of the muscle and overstimulating the muscle, possibly along with dehydration. So having said that, recognize that sometimes it just takes resting the muscle, and that activity will naturally recover over 12 to 24 hours or less. It's also important to go ahead and rehydrate as quickly as feasible, so drink a couple of glasses of water. Making sure that you remain hydrated will help prevent cramps many times. So that's one thing to remember about cramps. The other thing to think about, particularly if you have high blood pressure and take a diuretic medication like thiazide diuretics or other medications for blood pressure, that it sometimes causes electrolyte imbalances. Sometimes these occur naturally, that is low potassium or low calcium levels, sometimes low sodium levels, but the most common culprit for this seems to be potassium. So you may want to think about a little bit of potassium supplementation, perhaps eating a banana a day or a couple of bananas if you're having cramps, to see if replenishing your potassium will eliminate your problem. So think about that, hydration, think about electrolyte imbalance. Other things that you can do for muscle cramps. Some people just complain of ongoing problems with recurring muscle cramps. So it's good to have some home remedies that you can apply and see if this will reduce your problem for you. And the three that I want to talk about are a spoonful of yellow mustard. So if you take this, just take a spoonful of mustard once a day or once every other day or a couple of times a week. You play around with it and see what seems to work for you. The same goes for pickle juice. Some people just use vinegar alone, but pickle juice is something that has been reported to be effective for preventing cramps. So maybe take a small Dixie cup and fill it halfway full of pickle juice. Just drink it down every few days or so, or if you're particularly in a period where you're bothered by cramps, and see what that does for you. Finally, this is a suggestion that I got from my good friends Joe and Terry Graydon with the People's Pharmacy, but this has been reported to be effective by many people, and many of my patients think that I'm kidding when I mention this, but that is get a bar of soap. And it doesn't seem to matter what brand of soap, just bathroom soap or shower soap. Unwrap it, such as Dial soap, for example, and take the open bar of soap and just place it under the bed sheet and where you sleep, and sleep with that soap under your sheet. And particularly since leg cramps often occur at nighttime, this method seems to do the job many times. So that's my Saturday morning spiel about muscle cramps.